This is indeed the end of the Age of All Might. But will this change the era of Boku no Hero Academia chapter 95's world forever? After the battle has been parted, it turns out the entire police knew about All Might's condition, or maybe they just figured it out once everything was revealed. And in the way, some consider this a tie, but another one do not, which is very true. At the beginning, Tomura was considered a child throwing a temper tantrum, which he was, by the way. However, with the guidance of Sensei, the gambit he just did, and with what he learned from the hero killer Stain, Tomura is no longer a child throwing a temper tantrum. No, he's a legitimate threat. He's still a child throwing a temper tantrum in a way, because he believes what he believes in is so childish. But now he will harness that hate into something extremely dangerous. Right? And this time his terrorism will be even more madness than before. And that's saying something, because he did some pretty mad things. And the symbol of peace have not fallen, as his weakened form was revealed to the world. It's only a matter of time that villains begin to gather around him. All Might's words may have scared off the villains, but I'm pretty sure they are soon going to join up with the villain alliance now that All Might is no more. As I said before, having a symbol of peace resides on everyone's shoulder was naive. That was naive. It was perfect, but it was still naive. Because that's the problem when you rely on one single person. That person is the unbreakable pillar. But even an unbreakable pillar will one day break. And if they break, everything they hold will fall along with them. Which is exactly what is about to happen. So the police promise to change their ways and become more strict. I doubt they will, but I hope they do. As All Might is trying to recover from the hospital, he reveals that the last flames of the symbol of peace in One for All is gone. It's also revealed that some secrets about his predecessor. Apparently, her husband was killed, so she gave up her child in adoption. Why am I getting the very distinct feeling that One for All, or what now, All for One Sensei? I don't hate call him Sensei, but that's what his other name is. Why am I getting a very odd feeling that All for One killed her husband? So she gave up her child to adoption, and told both All Might and Gran Torino to distance themselves from the child because she didn't want that child to be involved in the hero life. Well, that makes this story even more tragic. So I wonder what happened to that child. It's very likely he grew up in a very bad foster home. I mean, it's true, Tomura is the grandson, but judging from what we saw from Tomura's house, I'd say they lived poor. So maybe the predecessor's son had a very hellish foster home, also grew up hating heroes, and then as he became older, he became an abusive father. I think that's one of the reasons why Tomura's mind is so shattered. And Gran Torino and the police, who's best friends with All Might, vows to stop him. As the kids all go home and Bakuga is taken to the police station, he's unusually quiet. That Bakuga is quiet? Are we finally gonna have a change in personality, or is he going to be more aggressive than ever? I think we're gonna have an even more aggressive personality after this. I think the reason why he's so quiet is because the symbol of peace that he always adored them, he didn't adore him as a symbol of peace, but that the guy who never loses, that guy just lost his power, meaning he is no longer can win a fight. So maybe he no longer believes in All Might and will only believe in himself. Or maybe he's sincerely having a personality change here. Maybe he's realizing just what All Might was putting on his shoulder and how naive he was. Who knows? All we know is that Endeavor is throwing a tantrum in his training things. Technically, now that All Might is no longer be able to have the power, he is no longer the number one hero, even if he is alive. That means that Endeavor is now gonna be number one hero, which he didn't want to. He wanted to be the number one hero. But we all know he wanted to do that while surpassing All Might, and he didn't. He didn't surpass All Might. Because, how do you say this? All Might retired? That's the wrong word. There's a certain words on how you describe this. He didn't surpass All Might because All Might lost his powers. Therefore, he could never... therefore, he didn't have the time to surpass All Might. Meaning that even if he's number one hero now, his one goal that he wanted in life can never now be fulfilled. And he is furious about that. So Deku comes home, his mother is worried. Later that night, All Might calls him. They go out on the beach where of course All Might reprimands him for being so reckless. But still he sees himself in Deku. So he says that the last ember is gone, but he promises that now that he will look after Deku even more and enable him to learn the powers, because he's glad that Deku did not walk out of this fight this time with broken bones. As he hugs his his student, they both shed tears, although Deku sheds waterfalls of tears, which All Might reprimands him for being a crybaby. The smash that he got on his cheek throbs as future Deku mentions that the aching throb made me remind of one thing: the end of All Might's era. This was the end of All Might's era. So now what? It's only a matter of time before the Villain Alliance grows in immeasurable power and becomes a terrorist organization that not even the police will be able to destroy. And it won't be long before the public realizes that All Might's weakened form is permanent. So, I mean, All Might is alive and all. But can he really train Deku now to harness One for All? They told him, didn't he? Break more free more times and you're permanently disabled. So please, All Might, for the love of heroes, make him now so that he don't break his body. We need hope. Because I know we're gonna face despair. The end of All Might's era is... I said it wrong again. Now that All Might's era has ended, what era will come now? Will we have the Despair era, the era of the new Villain Alliance? Or will we have the students who will inspire new heroes? Will we even have a time skip after the Villain Alliance takes over? It wouldn't surprise me if the Villain Alliance takes over and then we'll have a little time skip where the heroes becomes a bit older and then stops them. But this arc's wrapped up. What awaits us now? No clue. Give me your thoughts if you have any.